Thanks for joining us. I'm Randall Bennett. iPhone OS 3.0 is about to hit the iPhone probably this summer. That's what Apple says anyway. But if rumored, there's been yet another rumor in the iPhone OS 3.0 battle, and this one is over voice control. People are saying that the iPhone, Ars Techinca actually is reporting that the iPhone will add voice support, so you can use voice commands to dial and actually use the phone. This is one of a number of rumored features that went unannounced when the iPhone OS was announced back in January. Does this actually add anything to the game? Let's talk to two people who know what they're talking about. We have Jeremy Kaplan, who is with PC Mag. Jeremy, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We also have Rana Sobhany from Medialets, and that's a company that does iPhone analytics. Rana, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this is kind of yet another string of kind of unearthed info where people are saying, you know, another feature is being added to iPhone OS 3.0. Jeremy, is this something that you're excited about, or what do you think of iPhone OS 3.0?
Well, you have a good point. I mean, they announced all sorts of features, and this is one that wasn't announced yet seems like a fairly big feature. What I think is kind of funny about it, it sort of highlights how, even though the iPhone OS has been around for 3 years at this point, it still is a fairly green new operating system, particularly for cell phones. It doesn't have some key features which have been in most other cell phones for years. The past two cell phones I've had voice control. And so it's a feature that everyone's familiar with. I find it funny. I've used it in those past two cell phones, and it has never worked well. So it'll be interesting to see if Apple really just transforms the market yet again by doing something and doing it effectively.
Rana, what do you think about this? I mean, do you use voice control in your cell? I mean, you have an iPhone right now, right?
I do. I've had an iPhone from day one, but I would echo the same sentiment because Apple has taken something as simple and commonplace as cut and paste and made it the world's most revolutionary feature of a cell phone. So clearly, this is, part of the hype that goes into iPhone and why people are so, crazy about this device. And but I do think that one of the interesting capabilities of having this feature is the potential of having that API open to developers to create iPhone apps around it. Because this is something, I have a Prius that has voice command, and I actually use it quite frequently in the car, whereas on a cell phone I've never used it. So I think in a different application, not necessarily in the sense of software, but I mean different use of it, it could be very, very interesting to see how that is integrated into the phone.
That's a great point. I mean, I think that, like you're saying, Jeremy, using voice command on a cell phone in itself isn't that exciting, but maybe those application developers can create something that's a little bit more unique, a little bit more interesting. Switching gears for a second, let's talk Windows Mobile. Now, the next version of Windows Mobile 6.5, will actually be released pretty shortly. We don't have a specific release date, but it's something that people are a little bit excited about. Obviously, Microsoft has had the largest market share of the smartphone OS until devices like Android and the iPhone came around, and now Microsoft has a lot to prove. Rana, do you think that Microsoft can actually pull this off with Windows 7 or Windows Mobile 6.5?
Well, I think that, every single manufacturer out there and everyone in mobile right now is just sort of racing to catch up to this huge opportunity they missed, which is the notion of a centralized application distribution. And so I think that we shouldn't count Microsoft out yet. Ultimately, it's between RIM and Windows Mobile as to who's got more share of enterprise devices and usage. So I think that ultimately Microsoft had the impressive ability to be able to sit this one out so far, and where that might be such a deterrent to most people, it also might have given them the opportunity to sort of learn from the mistakes of others and potentially come out with something really incredible. So I would really like to see what happens if it is that date or if it's a little bit later. It's definitely, they're coming in behind just based on the fact that everyone else is mobilized around them, and it's a shame because they have a great product as far as this could, they've been doing really innovative things in mobile for a long time, and ultimately this could be an opportunity for them to catch up and redeem themselves. So I think it remains to be seen, and ultimately, if they have something like hardware specs that are standardized among lots of different carriers, manufacturers, and they're able to sort of up the ante that way, that could be something really interesting. Because if you look at Android and you look at the G1, this device is really a beta phone. It's not a top of the line high-end device device like the iPhone is. And if you're looking at an operating system that you can deploy across many different handsets, if Microsoft takes this step forward and just declaring that there's certain features and functionality that they're going to accept as the baseline, then that might make this operating system really impressive.
I don't know. So Jeremy, what's your take? Windows Mobile 6.5, obviously Microsoft hasn't done everything right. Like Rana mentions, that App Store concept that they've been lagging so far behind. What's your take on Windows Mobile 6.5?
Well, it's interesting. There is an app store for Windows Mobile. It's just a third-party app store. I forget the name of the company, but there's a giant application store that already exists, and there is this whole pool of people that are developing for Windows. They're very familiar with developing for Windows. That said, Windows Mobile has really lagged behind, as Rana was saying. 6.5 rumored to come out on May 11th, I think, is the date that people have been saying, and now I heard that that's not actually the date. So who knows when this is coming out? But by all accounts, it's not really going to be the game changer that Microsoft needs to really get the attention back on their product there. With Android and with the iPhone coming along and just doing everything that everyone wants. So they have a long road ahead of them there. And there's been some plans or some rumors about what Microsoft might be doing with Windows Mobile 7, which is due 2010.
Yeah.
Who knows when?
Yeah.
But I think for the short term, they're fighting a very hard uphill battle.
One of the things I've always contended is maybe Microsoft should just kind of scrap Windows Mobile and take, a new approach. And the Zune has done pretty well in the few places that it's caught on, which are kind of this teenage market that's not really, teenagers who aren't going for the iPod are going for the Zune kind of thing. And I think if they really wanted to try something unique, they could make the Zune interface perfect and kind of copy all the things they like from the iPhone, and then introduce that maybe as the new Windows Mobile. I don't know. It's my shot in the dark that I hope Microsoft will listen to, and maybe they can do something. Guys, we're out of time. Jeremy Kaplan from PC Mag, thanks for being with us. Also, Rana Sobhany from Medialets. It's medialets.com. Thanks so much for being with us, Rana.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time on the show. I'm Randall Bennett. Thanks for joining us. Tech V is on iTunes. See ya.